Doom 64. Now, this is a title. This was actually released in March of 1997 and initially only. Actually, it stayed only for the Nintendo 64 for many, 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 many years. Decades. Almost 25 years. And it is officially the last of the Doom guy part of the franchise. And when they were offered the chance to put it on the Nintendo 64, the team jumped at it, as the hardware for the Nintendo 64 was actually a lot more advanced than computers at the time. So, what you have is basically they were able to utilize it to have better graphics, better looks, even utilize some things that were not in the Doom franchise, which was literally going over the same area. I mean, if you look at all the maps from the previous games, you do not see, quote, overlapping areas. If you have to cross over an area, there's usually an elevator that changes levels. So, this one, well, yeah, had that too, but it looked a lot better, and to be honest. But was designed, as much as it was a shooter, it was also puzzle solving. And with the limitations of the console, they had to eliminate certain enemies. I mean, you won't see the chain gun guy in there. You won't see an archvile running around. Thank God. You won't have the spider mastermind as a boss. You do have a cyber demon, and damn, he looks a lot better in this one. He's still imposing as hell, but oh boy, that's I mean, to highlight it, they actually had a pan round for that opener. The cyber demon is constantly shooting at you the whole time. He's tracking your camera movements. The Mancubus has got a new look. The Pain Elemental got a freakier new look. Caco Demons got a bit of a cooler new look. They now had little hands on arms. The Barons and the Hell Knights looked a little bit more imposing. The Imp was fiercer, and they even added some new creatures. They added a Nightmare Imp. You had your Pinky Demons, you had their Spectre forms, which were translucent. Nightmare Imps, they were faster and sometimes translucent, and it's like they did what they could. And they set up some levels to be puzzles. So you have to literally, you can't just brute force your way through. You had to think. But this game was set up with initially 32 levels. However, in your main campaign, you only play through a fraction, like, see, about so 3 of those. You had 4 secret levels out of 32. You had 3 which were literally ones you could only really access with a password. And these were fun levels. So they really didn't add to the main mission. So you had, let's see, 4, 5, so 5 there, minus 20, So that's 32 minus 4, that's 28 minus 3, that's about 25. So you had 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 29 levels that you actually could play in if you play the complete thing. The secret levels were only accessible from different levels. And the big secret level, level 32, that could only be accessed from the first level, and to do it, you actually had to go around the level, shoot all the barrels, make sure your last one is closer to where the secret exit is, and take it, and you get to the top secret level, which if you could survive it, you get to unlock all the goodies. Cheats. And even that is set up as traps. And when I say traps, if you go for the wrong item, like sometimes they set up, you go after the wrong item and you get squashed by advancing, you know, crushing the ceiling. The secret levels each have, quote, demon keys on them. Now, once you get a demon key, you have it. And the demon key also not only will help seal away the demon, or seal away your final boss, the mother of all demons, it also gives you more power to the ultimate badass weapon in this game, the Unmaker. Now, everybody says the BFG is the best weapon in the Doom series. The Unmaker uses less power, and with the demon keys, you unlock faster, more powerful blasts with it. Using the Unmaker will wipe out a cyber demon faster than just lobbing rocket, rocket, rocket after him or hitting him with a couple blasts from the BFG. And a BFG blast usually takes about 40 cells of energy. No, this one just about 20 hits firing a laser. You don't go through that much ammo and he goes kerblooey. Now, in this, you basically return to the original base because they picked up more action and more demons showing up. So you get to the base, you battle your way through, and eventually I think fighting one cyber demon and jumping into hell. And you're fighting your way all the way through hell to the mother of all demons. And literally depending on how many demon keys you get, you have an easier time of it. Because she is tough. She is nasty. She hovers, she flies. She is genuinely, I think she's genuinely 3D when compared to the others, which are still use the sprites, so to speak, the sprite setup. But at least these sprites look more 3D than their counterparts. Now, of course, the object is to shut down certain gates so you don't have as many enemies running around. And the demon, she's got these nasty flame attacks that sort of fan out from you. This was truly designed, and they did wise things. They actually learned how to work with the Nintendo 64 control, so it works smoothly for moving about. You could switch weapons easy with that. You could move easy, strafe, look up and down. Because yes, you actually can do that. You have all these enemies running about. You have to use your brains to solve the puzzles. I mean, there are some areas that when you open things up, you're like, or when you think you're going to find something where you need to find it and it's gone, or it's not there, and then you have to run around, look for it. Some items are triggered by just appropriate aiming, and some secrets can only be unleashed in certain ways. And when you make your way, once you finally wipe out the mother of all demons, this was the final ending point of the first set of Doom games. Your ending basically says you're stuck in hell. However, since you're there, you might as well show those things that you messed with the wrong person, and you literally go about and start, you're now in hell killing demons. And that quote ended this timeline. Now, like I said, this was unavailable for many years, and that was mainly because it was developed for the Nintendo 64. So it was going to take them time to rework it. And of course, by the time they could even start to rework it, they were moving on. I mean, we were in the wake of Columbine at the time, and Doom took a nasty blow. Rumors went about that, but the Doom franchise sort of stagnated to a degree. And they really couldn't figure out how to get this out on a modern system on the other consoles at the time. Of course, by the time they started being able to do it, consoles had moved on. Doom 3 had come out, and so they had to move on. How are you going to tie it? You had a whole new storyline start with Doom 3, and then Doom 2016. About a decade later with Doomslayer. So what they did was, when they finally got the most recent at the time of this recording, Doom Eternal out, they figured something out. And when Doom Eternal came out in 2020, Doom 64 returned. Available on Steam, and at the time of this recording, at the time I made this recording, it's released on GOG as well. So, how do we get past that? Well, there were levels that they never got to use, or that they developed them in the process. These became the lost levels, and there is a story with it. Apparently, the mother of all demons had a sister, an evil sister, and she cast you out of hell. So you fight to get back into hell, get all your weapons again, even the Unmaker on the final level. And what do? Well, now you have to fetch those keys, hit those switches, eventually release the bitch, and then take her out. So you're back in hell, fighting the demons again, wiping them out, rip and tear. Which then made that the Doom guy and that the Doomslayer are the same individual. And that is how they tied the series together. Or at least tied Doom Guy and Doomslayer together. And It is an amazing thing. And it is one of the neatest things. The Lost Doom was now accessible to all Doom players. That was the only downside I could actually see to Doom 64, is that it was exclusive to the Nintendo 64. So the only way you had to experience the full Doom franchise up until Doom 3, prior to Doom 3, was you had to be a Nintendo 64 owner and have the game. It should also be known that Doom 64 is the only one that did not have a deathmatch mode. And that's basically because, well, by the time they released it, they didn't have the capability for it to be in there. And there was supposed to be talk of maybe releasing another one or some sort of add-on to allow for death matches. I mean, the downside of doing a death match on a Nintendo 64 was you're all in the same room. You're all looking at the same screen. Which, no doubt, they found that to be, quote, not worth it. But it was a fine addition. Storyline wise, it wrapped up everything, which would allow them that if they were to do another, they could maybe start fresh or have somebody, well, but they'd have to have somebody new. But it was a very nice, very long lost addition to the franchise. If you did not get to play this when it was on a Nintendo 64, I do recommend you go out, you get it, and see what they were able to do with the hardware the Nintendo 64 had at the time. And remember that what we were looking at then was computers that were not as advanced as the home systems were for graphics and that. And they delivered. They got to deliver a better looking product at the time. Kind of amazing of how things look now. And that's all I'm going to say about Doom 64. I do recommend you go out and grab it. And probably next week I'll be talking about the franchise up to Doom 64 as a whole. Until next time, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good one. Bye all!